Yeah, Sundays are for the boys, better know the code. Controller down, time to hit that pop road. Verbal hot takes, man, we never ought to break. Like fat kids eating cake, eat a crumb they can take. No place for the haters, we too full of the flavor. Never bullshit on the mic, straight heat we deliver. Boys with the heat, never turning it down. Mike's on fire, man, we burning the town. Get those earbuds in, get out the kitchen quick. The smoke's rising higher, this a 5-alarm hit. That guy in the cuts being bars so relentless. We the truth in the booth, no cap, straight business. Charles on the mic, got him glued to the set. Ain't no rewind button, no pause, no reset. Sundays for the squad, let the heat wave spread it. No chill, no filter, just facts and fire. This podcast a flame, taking podcasts higher. Chaos on the track, you know it's getting wild. We bring the noise, never tame, never mild. Verbal hot takes, like flames they spread. Keep the bullshit at bay, keep the nonsense dead. The boys with the heat, never turning it down. Mike's on fire, man, we burning the town. Get those earbuds in, get out the kitchen quick.
Welcome back, Charles.
My eyes!
You had a little excitement this weekend.
Actually, there's a small update. We did not make it to the Ravens game. I've been having random leg pain, significant, like a comb.
Yeah.
Right at the end of the comb, somebody smashing that comb into my thighs.
No,
Like,
I don't like that.
Yeah. Today has been better, but the last 5 days have been terrible.
Damn. Well, I'm sorry. I did not know this.
Yeah, well, you know, I don't open my mouth, so
Yeah.
if I didn't really mention it to many people, but I was not so much bummed about missing the game, which ended up being a great game.
Yeah.
Would have been fun to go to. My brother took his son to the game, and we were supposed to meet him there also. So instead, we gave them our tickets there, so they got to sit pretty darn close.
Nice. Fantastic.
Yeah, hopefully they were surrounded by wonderful Packer fans. Small Packer update there.
Yeah.
Lots of big things on this episode. Super excited about it. We got college football, fantasy sleepers, 90s commercial reactions.
Yeah.
Gonna throw out an early what grinds my gears along with a pondering question I've had over the last couple of days. But anyways, backup quarterback situation is, we are in trouble. And I was just looking at the free agent quarterbacks right now.
Yeah.
And not only are we in trouble, but the league is in trouble. If your number one goes
there
down,
are very many good ones out there.
Like your season is probably over.
Yeah.
Depending, right? It would probably be week 3 or week 4 before I can make that note definitively. But
you've got to be an elite team to even still make the playoffs if your starting quarterback goes down.
So the 53-man roster will be solidified this week. So later on this week, we'll talk more about that. Wanted to start the show first with a quick what grinds my gears. People who leave that half a car gap in drive-through lines, there's a special place in hell for you. The drive-through line is an automated machine, okay? And it is supposed to work as a machine. There is nowhere for you to go left or right. It doesn't matter what's happening. You're screwed in that moment. The car in front of you can't do anything. The car behind you can't do anything. And the car behind you, more specifically, can't order any food. Right? Like the front of the car is sitting there and you hear the person.
You hear the person talking to you and you're like, I can't.
Hello? Yeah, can I take your order? Hello? And I'm sorry, there's a half car gap space in front of me and the other car here. And it's always the same type of person. I'm not going to say that person out loud. I don't think Patrick's going to either. We'll let the audience comment on it. Hey, how many people do you... But you're so annoying. Like, get over yourself. Drive forward, bumper to bumper, nut to butt, whatever the hell you want to call it. so everyone can like move. And I'm not talking about the big extended trucks, but I'm sure there's people out there complaining about them. So I can't wait to hear about it in the comment section.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, how do you feel about those people?
I'm not a big fan. We used to do this for work too. I go with the guy, Scotty. He's retired now, but we would go to work and it'd be at lunchtime and you go through the drive-thru and he would immediately start bitching. He goes, "What the F are these guys doing? Why is that guy not pulling forward? What the hell's he thinking?" And he's a guy that used to speak out loud his feelings, emotions, and thoughts. Sometimes it was very thought-provoking, and other times you're like, what the hell is he talking about? But he was the guy that you would always be like, that's probably the guy that's doing it. But then he's also the one complaining about it. No, especially with a larger vehicle like an SUV, if you don't leave enough space, sometimes you can't. The way that they have the entrances too, like we've noticed it at like Dunkin' Donuts. It's got a drive-in, and that drive-in is very sharp. So if a car coming in doesn't leave you enough room, you're in the way of people trying to leave now because you've established that you want to be the asshole. Well, just say it. You want to be the asshole.
So is that more on the establishment for extending their reach?
It's entirely possible that they just want more people going through the drive-thru.
In an overpopulated area.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say overpopulated, but in a high population area.
I also used to live in Flint, and Flint is the only place that I've ever seen in my entire life where they have a CVS across from a CVS and a Walgreens is on the other corner.
Yeah.
Are we in one of those situations where we need a Starbucks, a Dunkin' Donuts, and we need a Tim Hortons on the other side?
Well, it's funny you bring that up because living in a small town for as long as I did, and then, of course, being stationed at Fort Wainwright, Alaska, there's it's not a lot corner to corner going on in Fort Wainwright or in Fairbanks, Alaska. But anyways, there are times when I'll drive to, let's say, before a doctor's appointment or a homework assignment, I like to on Monday mornings, I'll drive to Starbucks to grab a white chocolate mocha. And if that one's too busy, it makes more sense for me to drive inside 10 minutes to the next one and then inside 5 minutes to the next one, right? Just to find the less busy one, or maybe the one that because they all make the coffee different. It's the same thing, but they all make it a little different. The one up in Appleton, there's a Barnes & Noble. I don't know what white chocolate they use there, but oh my God,
it's different.
It's so good, bro. It's so good. But I understand the need for multiple Starbucks. By the mall itself, I mean, there's probably 10 coffee shops, dude. But I get it, man. There's 30,000+ people. And in that Fox Crossing or Fox City area where it all kind of merges around that Appleton Mall and the Appleton Airport there, hell, there's so many people all the time. You have one of those. Listen to me. There's so many people. Still on 300,000.
But it's people say that, but then they come here and they're like, man, it's very condensed. People are on top of each other. For a smaller community, it's a city. It's a city. Yeah. It's not a city. It's metropolitan area.
So the buildings, so the shopping and the businesses vary, but there's a lot of really nice neighborhoods. It actually blew my mind, especially looking to buy a house right now. Like, you can get a lot closer to the 1/3 acre lots than the 1/4 or less acre lots. And that is how you say that. Even
is that because they make their houses larger?
I'm not sure.
They're making their house a quarter larger or something.
But I'm noticing a lot in our price range anyways. Maybe I'm just
trust me. Mandy has done the same thing looking at houses. It's like some of the houses that are in that price range, and you're just looking at it, you're like, it's 10 minutes. This house is a piece of shit. We can say it. It's sad what the junk is out there.
Oh, absolutely. No, so for us, we're in the what is it, 265 to 350.
You don't want to put yourself out
I
at
don't
the
want to
higher
go
end of
up.
that because
I don't want to go up on
you're
a very high end of that. No,
well,
no, no,
because
no.
the more than likely that's going to be water, and then you've
Mhm.
got to include taxes and all this other BS on that.
Oh, being a service-connected veteran, there's other things that. But yes, you're not wrong. I don't want to go too high because I don't want to have to wait for the house to be worth what I bought it at. Because buying, we'll touch on this real quick. You buy a house today and you're like, oh yeah, okay, so the wife watches HGTV a lot,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
there's that.
that'll throw you for a loop.
I laugh all the time.
I know.
But anyways, there was the My Lottery Dream Home, right? And
Yeah.
one of the houses on there was like $233,000, and it was a beautiful home.
Yeah.
And I was looking at the wife, and I was like, this is like 2020 shit. When I get info on the remote.
Yeah, it's before the C. Everything was very. That house now is doubled.
Yes, and it was. The episode was aired in 2020, so it could have even been shot pre-2020, late, not 2019. But anywho, so it's going to be a minute, or I don't know. There's ways around it, but it's not so much as just getting the permit and putting on an addition and then selling the house because you put a bunch of money into it.
No, you usually don't get your money back. An old guy told me this. When I used to do kitchens and bathroom remodel, I was a drywall guy for 10 years. You don't get your money back out of a house until you've almost pretty much paid it off. Because by that time, the market has fluctuated, changed, interest rates gone up, gone down.
If you're in a position to make 2 payments a month,
yes,
the house payment and then a payment on the principal, you can pay it off in less than half.
Because then you have the opportunity to fall in between when the interest rates are at the peak, and then you can sell for a profit. Yeah.
There's a whole episode we could do about that, but today we're talking about sports. You had something. Oh, excuse me. Before we jump into college football, you're bringing up the Aaron Rodgers, Matt Stafford situation.
Yeah, we get to watch that fantastic little video and comment on it shortly here.
Yeah, you're pulling that up. I wanted to ask a question just out loud. The Karen type people out on the internet who go viral.
Yeah.
I find myself at times wondering what their life is like afterwards. Do you think sometimes they have come to light moments? Some of them have the holy cow, is that me? And moving forward, it's like, hey, you were that person. And they're like, yeah, it was an eye-changing moment for me. How much different. Or does it boost ego? Right. I've never ran into one. Right.
You know what? We ran into one today at Sam's Club. We went to Appleton. We went to Sam's Club. We got some chicken, and we're fasting. Mandy and I are doing this fasting thing. And let me just touch on this for a little bit. If you guys want to lose weight and be hungry and feel like you are starving from Ethiopia, not eat for 19 straight hours. Yeah. Now I know what a military serviceman feels like. Holy crap. All you can drink is water and black coffee.
Hey, we are fed well. Just so
you know. I'm just saying, if you were in the field,
depends on if you it depends on how much you like the MREs and if you ended up with the omelet.
But I'm like, man, you get black coffee. She goes, I can't do it. I'm like, I'm drinking black coffee, and I'm like, I prefer it over coffee with creamer in it now, which is very weird, but I don't know. My body's adjusted to it already.
I tell you too, a small trick is put some salt on your tongue before your first drink of that black coffee, and it cuts the bitterness right out of it.
Interesting. Yeah, I'll try that.
Yeah, just a little bit of salt. You don't have to put my portion of salt.
I'm still
shake it all there until the cat falls off.
So what shout out Black Rifle Coffee Gunship, my favorite flavor, by the way.
Yeah, great company too. Great company.
So yeah, I'm ready. We got this.
All right, let's pull it up.
Coming up here. So this is a long video.
If you have met a Karen or dealt with a Karen story, hit us in the comments with it. We'd love to hear it.
Yeah, hit us with the Karens. Where did you find your Karen?
Yeah, mine's all. Thanks to the algorithm, it makes me feel like it's the Dare Bear situation growing up,
Yeah.
right? Where you become an adult, there's free drugs on every corner. I'm expecting to meet
Karen.
a Karen every time I leave the house, and 36 so far. I haven't ran into one.
The majority of
Or a
those for me have been
memorable
at
one.
gas.
I'm sure I've had. I did have that one hit me in the face with a Mountain Dew can, break my eyeball open. That's a story for another time.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Go ahead and pull that up.
Yeah, that doesn't.
I got a
that
scar
doesn't
above my eye
correlate
and
with this.
everything
Maybe
from
that's a story for the end of this show.
Yeah. Don't hit bread out of a vegan's hand. That's all I can tell you. All right.
All right, so we got.
So the volume's going to be a little loud for you guys at this time.
I
So
can't bring the music down on this apparently.
All right, cool.
All right, there we go. All right, so nope, yep, sorry about that. Copyright. I'll have to edit that.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. So the Packers, it took me a minute to get into this. Obviously, you got to simulate the team schedule after we've already established that Stafford is now on the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers is now on the Detroit Lions 2012 season.
Okay, so pause for a second. So for those new listeners in between when we did this or when we said or talked about this and this happening, so we had asked ourselves, would Rodgers or Stafford have won more rings if they were flipped? And more or less, we're just going to the computer and a simulator, and this is where we're at.
Yeah, we started with one season, and then after this, next episode, we'll have an update because I'll simulate the next 10 years, and we'll see where we end up. But as far as right now, this is just your 2012. Because Rodgers was 2005, he was drafted. So this is Rodgers' 7th year in the league, and I believe this is Stafford's 3rd.
I met him when he was a long-haired hippie. I think it was 2008, 2007. Yeah, late 2007.
So all right, here we go. Advanced to regular season. Here we go. Advancing. It's going to simulate through all the games, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, so it's preseason.
The regular season starts now.
Okay. So,
like I said, I was very interested by doing this. So I went through, I had to unselect all the Packer games. Very interested in seeing what the stat comparison would be. Now, some stats are very similar, as you'll notice at the end of the video. Unfortunately, there's a big surprise at the end of this.
We'll find out. I'm excited.
There we go. Week 1. There she goes. Packers beat the Steelers 21-20. First game of the season. That takes forever for this. 6 minutes of... Anyway, a lot of overtime games I noticed in Madden. Madden was a big favorite of the overtime back in the day in 2012 on PlayStation.
Yeah, so the Packers seem to be doing okay with old Matty Ice.
Yeah, they're not
at
doing
the beginning.
Too bad.
From what I can catch.
The thing is, when you look at the 2012 rosters, they're very similar. I believe the Packers were like an 88 or 89 on Madden, and I think the Lions were an 87 or an 88. So the teams are very similar.
Very
More
similar.
The Lions with Sue in the defense, I think it was. Their offense wasn't as great, but they had
So you would think though with Aaron Rodgers that
with Calvin Johnson. Yeah.
Man, you think that they at least make it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, you would think.
This will be fun. Good, we're just a little over halfway.
I guess we can skip to... There we go. Skip to the end of the season here.
All right. Yeah.
I'll pause it when we get to the postseason here. Lions Packers are 10-5. Lions are 9-6. Week 17.
Packers are 10-5, 9-6. Really?
And here's your playoff teams. Here's your wild card teams. You have the Jaguars and Bengals, the Saints and Falcons, Ravens, Raiders, Giants, and Seahawks. What does that tell me?
So that means only one NFC North team made it into the playoffs.
Yes, correct. And that team was the team that won the division. And the Packers beat the Lions it came down to week 17. Packers at home beat the Lions to go 11-5 and make the postseason. That's what I said. Very interesting. Very interesting.
See, And this has been my thing. That's so great. Computer did that, man, and we gave you Aaron Rodgers.
It gets even, Charles. It gets even more interesting.
Yeah.
Simulate the entire playoffs now. Boom, boom. Here we go.
Yeah. So it gets even more interesting.
Did it already simulate through the playoffs?
Pro Bowl is probably first, and then the playoffs.
No, went straight to the Super Bowl. Interesting. Anyway, the Packers lost to the Eagles in the NFC Championship game.
Okay.
So 31 to 13, 31 to 13 or something. So the Lions did not make it. The Packers did make it to the NFC Championship game, lost to the Eagles. I believe this sounds very familiar to something that happened in the regular season with Aaron Rodgers. It might not have been the Eagles. I think it might have been, the 49ers or I forget.
Seahawks.
Seahawks? Yeah, the Seahawks on there with Hasselbeck and
Yeah. No, they ended up winning that game too.
Yeah, so the
Green Bay ended up winning that game. That was very interesting. I think one of my biggest takeaways from this, and this has been my thing with Detroit too. It's not that, because hearing me from time to time and hearing me at very minimal times. Yeah. Right? You just hear me bash the Lions.
We're going to get to their stats here pretty quick. Then you can really bash them.
Awesome. Because for me, what it comes down to is it's an organization thing. You can't tell me like Jim Catwell was a terrible coach. He had winning teams. He had winning games. Hell, before Jim, there wasn't many. And after Jim, there wasn't any until Campbell here. It's not like what the Lions are doing specifically. It's not their success specifically. It's not like they haven't had success. Hell, I think we're 108 and 91 or 107 and 92 overall here you go. The season.
So Matthew Stafford
through 3,400.
Yeah, 3,417 yards, 21 touchdowns, 14 picks. Yeah, pretty average season, a rating 83.7. Pretty average for what he was. That's what he was pretty much averaging in Detroit.
Yeah, that's about an 80.
This is where the interesting thing rolls in. He was only 213 yards a game, and he was sacked 47 times. Look at the fourth quarter comebacks, though. He wants the Lions. Fourth quarter comeback. Matty Stafford.
Dude, see, you got to think if
he did
going into the past.
He did make the Pro Bowl.
Yeah. If going into the past, knowing the future had any effect on this.
Correct. Here's where this is why I didn't understand. Had I played the entire season, I'm going through all the players here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got Hasselbeck. A lot of these guys did not have the greatest seasons.
That's gross. The blast from the past is seeing all the names. Nathan Andrelli. It's because, or Jay Cutler.
There you go. All right,
Aaron Rodgers.
So Aaron Rodgers must have got hurt because he only threw for yards, 14 touchdowns, 10 picks, and 171 yards a game, sacked 32 times. And then Sean Hill came in for some god-awful reason. They didn't try to trade for him.
It is weird that you had 400 attempts and less than 2,000 yards.
17 touchdowns, 14
What is that about?
I don't know.
Did they see what I mean? He threw almost 500 times.
Yeah.
Even if he played most of the season. He played all but 2 games. Or 1 game. 1 or 2 games. And the offensive line in Detroit just...
Yeah.
Dude.
It did what it
Does this
always
add
does.
more? Does this add light to Matthew Stafford?
It does. I'm very interested to see that maybe Aaron Rodgers, it's very comparable. Like it's literally
Yeah.
1 for 1. It's if you reverse their career that season, I looked at what they actually did that season, and it's very
Yeah.
similar. I believe Stafford had a terrible season and Rodgers had a average
mean,
to above average season.
Now you do have to give a little bit of credit to Calvin Johnson, but I guess, Matt Stafford got sacked 700 times anyway.
47 times for the Packers and Rodgers got 32 times.
32 times. So whose offensive line was worse? Yeah. Yeah.
And the thing is,
it really
won
wasn't
11
until the
games
last inside the last decade that we had started to have a decent offensive line. That's interesting. Yeah, yeah. It'll be interesting to see what happens in their next season together. You'll have to remember to check Calvin Johnson's stats.
Oh yeah, I can jump in there and do that at some point tomorrow.
Yeah, 17 touchdowns.
Only 17,
with Calvin
14.
Johnson.
How many of those do you think he got?
Even if he averaged 35 throws a game, right?
Yeah.
In 10 games, you're at 350.
Yeah.
And there's only, 16 games back in 2012?
Yeah.
So you only played 15. But yeah, he played 14 games.
So let me see here. What did he say? You had 500 and some attempts divided by 15.
What? 434 attempts. 434 attempts.
Okay. Oh shit! I added that together. Why did I do that? 31 a game. 31 pass attempts a game.
Yeah, that's not terrible.
No.
Yeah, so he got hurt in the
second to the last. Maybe that's the reason why they lost to the Packers.
They lost to the Packers because they lost to the Packers. We'll see what happens next year. It's interesting that's fun to talk about because it's the same position we're in this year. As a Packer fan, the only thing we can say is, hey, we'll see what happens this year. As a Lions fan, they have every right to go, yo, we gonna beat your ass again. We did destroy them on Thanksgiving. Shout out Fox for not having a turkey.
Yeah, again, we talked about this again.
You could have just turned the damn thing around.
Right.
Who knows? But anywho, I can't believe, why do I keep closing out of college football? Here we go. Schedule week 1.
You want to just talk about you want to talk about the Florida State game where you see the fans blaming the officials for not stopping the clock on and out. And what is it? It was his forward momentum or whatever. It's a normal play in football. Forward momentum takes him out of bounds. They said he was down. It doesn't matter if he's still moving forward with the ball, the official's never going to call him out of bounds. Like his momentum took him out of bounds with his own feet. So he walked out of bounds. So he was in the field of play. Clock keeps running. It's only if you're forced out of bounds with the clock stop.
Yeah. The game to me to begin with was a toss-up because a lot of money came in on Georgia Tech, although most of the money was in on Florida State.
And is that because it was in Ireland? Is that the only reason? It was only a 10-point. They were only 10-point favorites. So, yeah, I could see a lot of money coming in.
It was a 15-game win streak when double-digit favored that was snapped. When we talk about playing in Europe, are you still there?
Yeah.
I froze there for a second. That was wild. When we talk about playing in Europe, right? When we lose or when the team loses, you often hear from time to time, hey, it's the travel. Now, if we were leaving from California and going to Ireland and playing 16 hours after we land against a team that has either already been there for a week or only plays there, then yes, I would hear that argument. I would hear it often.
Oh, they did they try to complain about jet lag or
Yes, yeah, we
they
hear
did?
yes. And my thing about this is, even when it comes to the NFL plays over there often,
Yeah.
and it's oh, Jacksonville plays really well over there, blah blah blah, and there's a couple other teams that play well overseas, but you hear from the losing fans from time to time as well. Oh, it's the travel, it's the 5,000 miles. Every team has to travel. What are you talking about? This makes no sense. When you're a professional athlete, getting paid an assload of money.
Yeah. You get on a plane, you go where you got to go.
Yeah, and if you have a terrible game, let's go look at, in today's day and age, let's go look at the socials. Pre-game, were you out there taking photos, or were you inside watching game film? Because that's probably a huge difference also. I can't tell you to go to your hotel and watch game film, celebrate, take a vacation to come over here.
So the Packers have a 14-hour flight to Brazil for the game. Let's see. Let's just compare this right now. Philadelphia Eagles. And they have 12 hours and 40-minute flight. 12:55, 12:40, 12:50. They're 13 hours. So the Packers have a 3-hour long flight, longer to go to. That's direct flight to go to Brazil for the game. So I don't want to hear any complaints out of Philadelphia Eagles.
Or even the Green Bay, because let's be honest, on paper, the Philadelphia Eagles are going to be a really good team this year.
Yeah.
As long as they stay healthy, I think they're going to be a fantastic.
No, I
team.
just meant I don't want to hear the excuses from either team. It's just like we've seen this.
You did you did an on the spot pick 'em last week, and we were both in agreement.
We got to start that. That's coming back next Sunday too.
Yes, our pick'ems are coming
NFL
back.
Pick'ems, yes.
Well, talking about college pick'ems here. Something was brought to my attention on a radio station earlier today.
Yeah.
In the college football scenario. It sat with me, and I'll bring it to your doorstep as well. Something we, as in the Big Ten, have talked about, and even recently with our new additions, which we're about to get to Washington here sooner rather than later, I think. Yeah, when we get to that point, I got to look it up. But anywho, weather, right? So the Big Ten weather late in the year, we always talk about it being significant. We're about to get home playoff games in December. We're talking places like Ohio State. You're going to see teams like Auburn going to Penn State.
Even Penn State. What? Because the playoff is going to be the home team for the first round, or what?
Highest seed has the home.
In the first,
we'll dig into it.
The top four seeds have a bye, right? Yeah.
We'll dig into it further this week. I've been watching tape on it. We've been talking 12-team playoff. We'll give the listeners and ourselves a refresher on it. I'll compile it into a quick minute 30 segment the best I can. And if I can't, maybe Patrick can as well. But anywho, that, because we always laugh, even something you had said in the last episode about Michigan going to Washington, which is something we're going to talk about coming up.
Yeah.
I've got something big to say about that. Also, I've got a hot take for Texas, the Texas-Michigan game. What's your take on these games? SEC teams coming up in the cold weather. How do you think it's going to affect? Do you think that's going to be beneficial for a team like Penn State, let's say? Playing a home game in December. You hear there's a handful of teams that this 12-team playoff has catered to, and Penn State is definitely one of them.
It's definitely going to help. It's going to help Dick Franklin and Penn State for sure.
I think the number was in the last 8 seasons.
Yep.
6 of them, Penn State would have been in a 12-team playoff.
Yeah.
Right. So
Matchup wise, Penn State has not been a terrible football team. Just Charles, they run into a buzzsaw with Michigan. They took an Auburn team, I believe, a few years ago, right to the wire, and they were Auburn.
thanks to NIL.
Yeah.
I have yet to see it with heart. And as a Michigan fan, I'm always going to bank on the side of heart. So until I see otherwise, you have to beat us to prove you're better than us. I can't say much more out loud confidently, but what I can say is you have to beat us to prove that you're better than us. But I can see it being a 3-tier lap. And because of Penn State's record, I believe that they'll end up with a home game. So they'll end up playing.
They are that second, third tier team. Yeah.
Yeah. So at first I thought they were going to end up playing a team like Florida State, but then they ended up losing to Georgia Tech.
I don't even see Florida State finishing in the top 25 at the end of the season.
No, they would have to win out convincingly.
That was the sixth. A guy said this on TikTok. He's a big Florida State fan. He goes, "That was the sixth toughest team we're going to play all season. The sixth toughest."
Yeah, they're the 12-team playoff like Penn State. Florida State, it was tailored for them, man. It was tailored for them. It was in front of them. Deion Sanders is tickled pink right now. That's about all I can say with that.
Oh yeah, because the fact that they potentially, that what is it? He wants to go coach somewhere in Florida State. That door is going to be open for him.
Is it because they were ranked 10th that we're shocked?
No, they were returning so much talent from last year. A team that only lost one game last year. They returned a lot, except that they lost their quarterback, Travis. But I mean,
they got DJU.
Yeah,
There's no way I can say his name.
From Clemson, transfer from Clemson, and he wasn't terrible. I think he was a 5-star quarterback. Like you said, stars don't freaking correlate anymore.
Heart.
Like you said, heart.
How bad do you want
determination, effort?
How bad do you want that contract?
Yeah.
How bad do you want that contract?
We saw it with Blake Corum. We're seeing it with, Donovan Edwards is a 5-star running back, but we see it with Blake Corum. And then there's also another running back at Michigan. Shout out to Alex Orji for being named the Michigan starting quarterback. I do believe unofficial starting quarterback, but I believe Rich Eisen is saying that he's going to be it. Rich Eisen, we all know, is a huge Michigan fan. More than likely.
Yeah, him or Shefty. If it comes for either one of those two, it's pretty.
Yeah, it's pretty solid.
I'm willing to shoot the gun. NCAA 25.
Did you see all these players? Yeah, all these college football players that are going out playing NCAA 25, and they're playing like their first 4 weeks of the season. And I believe it was Purdue, and the guy was playing on. He's a really good streamer, and he's playing as Purdue, and he's like week 7, they're 5-2, and he's ignore the record. He's like, it should have been 7-0. I was like, dude, Purdue is going to be lucky to win 3 games. Come on.
In the coaches poll, Michigan got a first place vote.
Yeah, they did, and I can only imagine who that was.
Probably Pete Thamel. But so, with the Florida State loss, are we shocked because of their rank or because of the team?
I'm shocked that they lost. It wasn't even that they lost. They actually got physically manhandled by a team that was definitely inferior to them. No disrespect to Georgia Tech, but Florida State has athletes and players all over that field, offensively, defensively. They have defensive players going to the NFL. Like you said, was it a lack of heart? That player, that linebacker, number 44, whatever, I don't even know his name. Nobody even knows his name. They just know him as a beast. He dominated that football game for Georgia Tech.
Is this potentially what may be called in the future as the NIL effect?
Entirely possible. This has something to do with it, for sure.
You have players on a team like Georgia Tech who might be making okay money, but are playing to make better money for a school like Florida State, who has players already making enough money to change lives. Most of these players may find the opportunity to make more money outside of college football with the foundation they create in the NIL.
Can I go through the rest of Florida State's schedule real quick? Can you tell me, and so you can understand what I meant by the 6th hardest team. So they go, they're at home. Boston College always plays Florida State tough. They're going to win that game, though. To come back, they're not going to want to lose back-to-back games. But they go Memphis. That's probably a win. Cal at home, probably a win. Then SMU, I watched, was a very scrappy football team. Florida State should win that game. Sorry, you're talking about 4-1. Then you're.
But are you talking about the team that should win, though, or are we talking about the team that played Georgia? Are we talking about the team? Yeah, are we talking about the team that showed up against Georgia Tech? Because if we're talking about the team that showed up against Georgia Tech, there's already 2 more losses there.
Yeah. Duke.
Yeah, I mean,
Miami.
Yeah.
North Carolina.
Miami's
Notre Dame.
a loss.
At Notre Dame.
Dame's a loss. Yeah.
Charleston Southern, and then you've got at home Florida to finish the season. It's a tough schedule.
If they play like they did against Georgia Tech,
they could lose 4 more games, 5 more games.
Yeah, easily see them losing 5 more games. Oh boy!
Part of the problem with that team is their defense. Their rush defense was terrible. Terrible.
Now, this is definitely a much better storyline. I think, does Florida State become the college? It's way too early. It's way too early. I don't give a frank. After hearing that schedule and seeing the team on the television, bro, you've had 60 some. That's game 1. You've had a really long time to prepare for game 1.
Dude,
as the number 10 team in the country.
Georgia Tech could potentially be. They play Georgia State, Syracuse, VMI, Louisville, Duke, at home, North Carolina. These are all unranked teams. Going into that Notre Dame game, could you imagine if they were 7-0 and that going to Notre Dame and that was a primetime game for them?
What conference are they in?
They're in the ACC.
Oh, dude.
So they would be good for Georgia Tech, man. I love this storyline.
Are we talking maybe Clemson, Georgia Tech for the ACC spot in the?
Isn't Notre Dame now in the ACC? I don't know how that works.
I think so. Yeah.
You got Miami, NC State. Anyway, they played Georgia to end the season.
I think Georgia Tech put their foot in the ball. Yeah, schedule wise, record wise, depending on how they win, that'll be interesting as hell to see.
This could really pan out well for them to end the season. They could. What if they end up with 2 losses?
Talking about 2 losses brings me to my next point with this college football.
Yeah. What do you think the bare minimum is to get in now?
Oh, I think you still think that? Conference wise, strength of schedule, 3 losses, you can get in.
So hypothetically, if you're what's going to be the hardest team to get in? Probably an ACC team. If they win the division, they'll get in the conference.
Yeah.
But what's your worst case scenario for a team like out of the SEC or the Big Ten?
Well, in this scenario specific, a 2-loss ACC team would lose out to a 3-loss SEC team,
especially if all 3 of those losses are to teams that are in the top 20. Yeah,
and definitely, and just as high, but not higher than of a chance for a Big Ten school because of the workup of the Big Ten currently.
I don't know if it's possible.
But I still think the SEC is a bit stronger than the Big Ten right now.
I keep hearing that Dylan Raiola is going to lead Nebraska back to glory, and they're not going to be as terrible of a football team this year. They potentially could be a top 25 team.
We've been hearing Nebraska is going to be a good football team since Scott Frost left.
That rule is,
and I don't mean Scott Frost, the coach, Scott Frost, the player.
Yeah, they did win 1 championship, tied for a championship.
You're not wrong. Could be interesting. One of my fun matchups to watch coming up early is the Colorado-Nebraska matchup.
Oh, I'm very excited for that.
Yeah,
very excited, especially since they lost out on getting him too.
Like Colorado beat Nebraska last year. I believe. I think that was in that early days stretch.
I think it was close. I think they won by 10 points or something.
But the point, new question.
I suppose we should go through our week 1s.
New question here, Pat.
Yeah.
New question. Do rivalry games matter anymore?
Not as much. Not as much.
Well,
they still matter for bragging rights, but they don't. They're only going to matter. Like Michigan Ohio State game is still going to matter regardless. But
hear me out. teams now have the potential to meet because of how things are 3 times in 1 year. Michigan this year could play Ohio State 3 times. Once at the end of the year, once again for the Big Ten championship, and then once again in the playoffs.
There's only 2 or 3 teams I think that the college football said this could happen, and one of them was Georgia, and Alabama, Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, and I think there's another one. It might have been out of the ACC. But yeah. It was Texas, and because they play the last week of the season, so that's why they're bitching about the moving the game at least back a week so the teams wouldn't play back to back.
It was just something that ended up happening in the video game, and I'm like, this doesn't make sense. The video game's cheating. But then I was looking, and I'm like,
you're talking about NCAA 25? You got to play Ohio State 3 times?
Yeah, I had to play Ohio State, and then the next season I had to play them back to back again. And the thing that makes that crazy is okay, so you win. So let's talk about the Michigan Ohio State game. The game, you win the game, but then lose the Big Ten championship, and then lose in the playoffs. Did the big game even matter?
Yeah, it didn't matter.
What bragging rights does that matter? Oh, okay, yeah, you won the game. Awesome. We won the Big Ten championship.
And went to the
we beat your ass in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So in that scenario, does the game matter anymore?
If you lose, no, in that scenario, it's completely washed. Yeah.
So it doesn't matter as much anymore.
No, it doesn't.
And the same thing for Alabama, Georgia. So as awesome as this 12-team playoff is, when it comes down to it, the only thing running through my mind, bro, is what have we done?
We're, as fans, still going to worry about it and still care about it, but
the first team to get the three-peat, I think that's all that matters at this point.
Yeah,
getting that three-peat, because for one, it relies specifically on the other team being great, because you have to be good enough record-wise to lose the game and not matter, get to the Big Ten championship, lose, and still get into the playoffs with 2 losses being consecutive, that to the other team. So that then the other team's got to be really good. They can't just be like 5 through 10 good. They got to be top 3 good, because you got to have the committee look at it and go, yeah, but they lost to a really good team. Then you've got to win through the playoffs and make it to the championship game and lose in the championship game.
The only thing saving this entire scenario that you're talking about happening this year is the fact that Oregon start the season is ranked number 3 in the country. So more than likely they're on that other end of the bracket. I think they dodge everybody. They don't play Michigan. They only play Ohio State. If they beat Ohio State head to head, and even if Ohio State plays Michigan and Michigan beats them and Ohio State only has the 1 loss, I believe Michigan, Penn State. I think Penn State's only going to have 1 or 2 losses too. It's going to be a big clusterfuck at the top for the Big Ten for sure.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see tiebreakers.
Do I foresee it happening this year?
This year, probably not. Future, it's entirely possible.
But that 3rd win is going to strictly rely on the athlete on the roster.
It's hard to beat anybody 3 times.
Yeah.
Wasn't it, I believe it was Alabama that beat a team 3 times in the season. It might have been Georgia.
Georgia's had a huge problem with.
Because Georgia's in the West, right? Correct, for the SEC. Yeah. So I think what happened, they beat them in the regular season. They beat them in the SEC championship, and then I think they beat them in the national championship, or not the national championship, but the playoff.
Yes, sir. Trying to pull up the top 25 schedule here.
Oh,
I'm
the
having
top
a hard
25?
time.
Oh no, I got it for you.
You can pull that up? Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we had Florida State, Georgia Tech. We've got Western Carolina, NC State. Thursday night football, we've got 4 ranked games. NC State, Western Carolina, Murray State, Missouri. Missouri's going to be a good football team again this year. Linwood. Who the hell?
Missouri has a schedule that allows them to be great.
Dude, Lindenwood plays Kansas on ESPN Plus. What the hell
is it weird? Is it weird that Ohio State has the better players on paper, yet only managed 7 coaches in the poll? And I promise you, the
Yeah.
other six that aren't Ohio State are from the Big Ten, and they're all in that petite potato ring.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me one bit. There's not too many teams that should lose their first week.
No.
Florida, Miami is going to be interesting.
Florida, Miami will be fun. I think Miami should do just fine.
The best game, the game of the week, though, is definitely Notre Dame, Texas A&M. Ooh, in College Station. The temperature, 98 degrees at game time. Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
That'll be ridiculous.
Yeah. Notre Dame ain't going to be ready for that heat. I don't believe so.
Where is Notre Dame ranked? 7. Why is Notre Dame getting so much love?
Because it's Notre Dame. It doesn't matter how they do get 5-star recruits because it's all still based off of tradition. In no way, shape, or form should Notre Dame even be a top 15 team. But every year they're in the top 10, top 12. Even when they're awful, they are.
Well,
and sorry, Notre Dame fans. We're Michigan fans, but Notre Dame hasn't been relevant since Manti Te'o was there. And they went to the national championship game, and guess what? They got completely effing waxed. So
what the hell is going on with this Michigan hype? And let me rephrase this too, because you're like, hype. What do you mean, Charles? You're a Michigan fan. So what I'm talking about is we're a number 8 team in the coaches poll.
Yeah.
So we get more respect there. Number 9 in the AP. But people think Washington is going to be a tough game because of the environment. Now, okay, Washington is a tough place to play. Cool.
I think a lot of this.
But so is Northwestern.
I can answer a lot of this. Yeah.
Yeah, Northwestern, I think, has much harsher environment than Washington.
I don't know. There's Northwestern doesn't have a very big stadium. It's all about the fans make that stadium very difficult to play in because it's one of those bowls, just like Oregon.
Right. But Washington is an unranked team. If you're the number 9/8 team in the country, it doesn't matter where you play, does it?
You have a quarterback who's only thrown 1 pass in his entire career.
Yeah.
Michigan has a completely unproven quarterback.
Okay. Yeah. I don't disagree with that. But even with that fact, we're still a top 10 team in the country.
Yeah, but you're going on the road to a harsh environment. They're only going to be they'll be 3 or 4 point favorites on the road. But they're not going to be 10-point favorites on the road.
Oof.
And
by the time that game comes around.
What week is this? They should be established offensively if it's week 7, week 8, right? You would hope so. Michigan is defensive heavy. Can't say it. Heavy this year. Their defense they're going to rely on them a lot.
It's October 5th.
Okay.
Week 6.
Yeah.
I tell you what.
I thought it was week 7. So yeah, they should be established offensively. They should have all those games to get them ready for the hype.
If you could take this to the bank.
Yeah.
By week 6, if we're still a top 10 team, that spread will be double digits.
Yeah, they're not puttering on offense either.
Yeah, no. You would have to assume we're not as a top 10 team.
No,
right?
You would think that they're going to have their feet underneath them, especially with the coaching that they have.
The coaching we have, we still have some really good wide receivers. We've got some speed.
The other thing is, Charles, they have a new coach. They have a new coach. They've got to get, usually when teams come in with a new coach, it takes them at least a year or 2 to get their feet wet.
You would like to think that, but with our situation here, I don't think that's the case.
No, not us. Washington. They lost.
Oh, yeah. They lost their
coach.
The only people on that team who are still there from the championship game, the whole team, is one guy.
Yeah.
most of the staff has even changed. I don't know the exact number on the staff. It's less than 30% of the original staff is still there. Yeah. I don't understand this Washington game. And that's where I got with the Michigan hype, right? There is just so much hate.
You just
And that's such a strong word. Yeah.
Negative press around them. Same thing with
it's so wild. Like, the disrespect is insane.
The NOA just came out today too. The notice of allegations on Michigan. All that basically is just telling Michigan what they found in the Connor Stallions report, which is, by the way, the documentary is coming out and it should be hilarious for what he says. I can't wait for that on Netflix, even though I'm not going to watch it because Netflix. Anyway,
I'll catch YouTube clips.
Yeah, but I don't understand it either. Everybody already knows they're not vacating wins. They're not taking anything away. No. I don't think there's anything you're going to learn in that you didn't already hear or know about. Not one thing.
Yeah. But did you hear the notice, the NOA, you had mentioned something about it. Was there anything specific in it?
They haven't released it yet. They just gave it to Michigan today. It was given to them, like probably court papers, documents. Think about it. It's probably a thing this thick anyway. But
so it'll give them time it gives them time for PR.
Did you know 3 out of the 4 board members graduated from Ohio State with bachelors and PhDs? 3 of the 4 board members that decide all this stuff are from Ohio State. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I said that last year.
Yes, I know you did. That's why I brought it up to you. You're like, these assholes. It's not.
I promise you, they graduated from Ohio State,
and they did. 3 out of 4 of them.
That's too funny. Oh well. Yeah, nothing's gonna come from that, anyways. And that's if Washington is the deciding factor on whether or not Michigan goes to the playoffs, because let's just out of the blue say that Michigan loses to Texas.
Yeah.
Oregon and Ohio State. I think that's the dice right there. If we lose to Texas, we got to beat Oregon or Ohio State. And then win the Big Ten championship game, which isn't going to be a cakewalk anymore. I think that's one of my most... Dude, that's going to be so awesome, right? Just the Big Ten championship game actually being something specific. Really, all the conference championship games being something specific. What you looking up?
I was just looking up the board members. Just looking up the board members. I was just looking at them, just very curious to see these people.
Yeah.
I understand that they have a job to do, but to do it discreetly and to do it, they did not do this investigation discreetly. Matter of fact, this thing should have been thrown out immediately when the fact that Pete Thamel and all these guys were leaking the shit out of the information and getting it wrong on top of it. Like any other investigation, if it went to court, they would be like, you can't even present this evidence. Like it got leaked. Like it's public knowledge now. You can't use this. It's inadmissible in court.
Check this out. The thing with that is that it's probably more in our favor.
Well,
right?
no, I know.
If things weren't leaked, right? Yeah. The punishment could have been worse. And there could have been very little that would have been done about it. But now in this case, you have to take into consideration the fact that, hey, if we come down too harsh, they can take us to court and win.
Yeah. The other thing is,
because of what was going on.
Did you see that the NCAA is like pretty much in panic mode too over this whole thing? Because so a lot of coaches, the Arkansas defensive coordinator came out and flat out said that they were doing this in college like 10 years ago. Like they had, before they even got there for the defensive coordinator job. And the guy's, what do you mean? He goes, we were doing this. He goes, we would send people down to watch games. He goes, they'd send coaches down there to watch games. This has been going on for years. And he goes, it's just the fact that he did it sneakily. It was the fact that they paid for the tickets and paid for all this other stuff. Yes, I don't agree that it was completely ethical and he probably shouldn't have been doing it. But the thing is, Michigan won that national championship under the biggest microscope that any team has ever won a national championship under. The last 5-6 weeks of the season, they were watched like a hawk. Apparently they had to turn over paperwork, summaries of all what practices were being watched. Come on, you want to say that this is a non-competitive advantage or a competitive disadvantage or whatever it is? Bullshit. They won that national championship fair and square, and everybody knows it.
Yeah. We've talked about it on the show a handful of times. We've said it in different words. I've said it a bunch. Everybody's going 90 on the freeway. Michigan apparently was going a $105.
Yeah.
The speed limit's 75. Everyone, but it's just what it is.
The funny thing is that you have to know that was Michigan giving the NCAA the biggest middle finger in the world in the second half of that Penn State game when they just didn't pass the ball. They just ran it right up their fucking right up.
I think it was a handful of middle fingers. I'll always remember it as just the biggest FU to Dick Franklin.
Yeah.
I mean, and really, they're like, hey, we don't want to play Michigan anymore. We can't beat them. Because they were going to have to come to the big house this year.
Yeah.
Sucks to be them.
It's very interesting. All right, you want to jump on? What do you got next on tap here? You got sleepers?
We've got fantasy sleepers. Yeah, absolutely.
Did you do late round sleepers or did you just do fantasy sleepers?
I've just got a fantasy sleeper today.
I've got one that's a late round for everybody.
Okay. I'll start with mine, then we go ahead and jump with yours. I've got Jerry Judy for you today for the Cleveland Browns. Didn't make a lot of noise with Denver, but to be honest with you, you're not going to make a lot of noise with Russell Wilson. We've discussed this multiple times. I'm sorry, but his greatest years were in Wisconsin and when Marshawn Lynch was running the football. Whenever you put the ball into his hands, I don't care what stat you come up with. I don't care what you talk to me about with his fourth quarter comebacks, if there's many or if there's any. The bottom line is, when it comes down to Russell Wilson, you just lose. And if I want a top 5 draft pick, I'm going to start Russell Wilson. If I want a top 2 draft pick, I'm going to start Justin Fields. That's the scenario you're at with the Steelers. Where that led from was Jerry Judy with Denver. Now he's with Cleveland.
Yeah.
And Amari Cooper and David Njoku are going to take up a lot of the defense's time with the middle and the deep ball. You also have Nick Chubb and Deshaun Watson, so that's going to take a lot of the flat away. So Jerry Judy should be in prime position to pick up a decent amount of targets, depending on the quarterback situation, of course. But this would be I'm guessing this would be a late mid to early late round sleeper. Yeah. If you get him any later than that, probably sitting in a pretty decent league or a pretty tiny league at that point. Keep your eye on Jerry. If
you're in a 12-man, you're in a 12-man, he's probably going to be you'd be a 6th, 7th rounder, yeah.
Yep. Keep an eye on Jerry Judy.
I got a big surprise for everybody on this one. So I was following this guy the entire preseason, watching him. And if you're a Cowboys fan, you'd be very excited. Rico Dowdell, Ezekiel Elliott's backup running back.
That Newspawn?
So Newspawn's way too small for the NFL. So anyway, he's Jaden Small's little midget friend. Yeah, so
it's so funny watching that kid.
He is so little. But no, he had a fantastic preseason. He possibly could be their number one because Ezekiel Elliott, after watching what he did last season, I think his career is pretty much washed up. So
the amount of Cowboys fans who think he's coming home to eat.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. But if you can get Dowdell in the 7th, 6th, 7th, 8th round, 9th round, whatever, out of 12, 15 rounds, you're sitting pretty because I think he's gonna have about 800 yards rushing and maybe about 6 or 7 touchdowns. He's gonna be like your nice little flex guy for you.
So I like that one. So the news on everyone's mind. CeeDee Lamb. Where do you draft him? This is why our fantasy draft is always the final Sunday before the league starts.
It's somebody that I'm going to stay away from, but it's also somebody that I want on my team. Does that make any sense to you?
No, it does. It does. And I think draft position depends.
If I have the 7th through 8th pick and all the top receivers are gone and he's still sitting there at 7, I'm taking him. I'm taking him. It's not a risk.
Really?
Yes, it's not a risk for me.
So late first round, bro. You should have heard what.
I think he's only going to sit out for one game, and I think I can move things around for a week or two and get him in there.
You can lose the first 3 games and still win a championship. Yes,
I've done that before. Yes,
I did that last year. Yeah,
unfortunately, yes.
Yeah. But that's interesting to hear you say that. So I guess my thought process on it is maybe more wishy than washy.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting thinking, because of the CeeDee Lamb scenario, if he sits out one game, that's fine. While I'm doing this, pull up the Dallas Cowboys schedule.
Yeah.
Because that would be super dependent also. Because we could have a Chris Jones situation. And I believe Chris Jones last year made it, 3-4 games?
I don't think he would sit. I think Jerry would panic before that without having him, but I could be wrong.
But that's why we're going to pull up the schedule, because this is very significant.
Week 1 is the Browns. Week 1,
okay.
Browns at the Browns, Saints. Then you play the Ravens at home. So those are your first.
So you have Browns, Saints, Ravens.
I think you can win those first 2 games without them. Could, and say they will. Could. And then you go. Then you have Baltimore at home. That's almost a must win for you.
If you do fine against the Browns week 1, I think week 3 would be the tipping point, and we would possibly not see him until week 4. To be honest, I think week 1 is the tipping scale. If they do fine without him week 1. And they're far off in the contract situation, we might not see him until week 4. And this is what has me scared with CeeDee Lamb. This is why I think that it's a more comfortable pick as a late 2nd, early 3rd round. And it's all draft. If I'm sitting in 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10.
We've got a whole nother week after this week for this to get resolved, and do I think it's going to? No, I don't think it will. But
no, it's. I mean, at this,
it's
no, I mean, this is
right now. I don't even hear anything.
This is he is not playing week 1.
No, for sure he's not. But I'm saying I don't even hear any whispers of them negotiating or talking. It's very quiet in Dallas right now, outside of them talking about Dak.
Yes, I'm trying to find a mock draft here real quick.
I'm assuming he's going probably the 2nd, 3rd round. It's probably pretty average for him. But the thing is, Charles, people that just see the name are gonna ruin those picks for people. The reason I would take him where I said I would take him is because I have faith that they will get it done within 2 weeks. I know he's not going to play week 1. Like I said, I can live without him for a week or 2. But like you said, if it goes to week 4 and you literally don't have a validated number 1 receiver,
that's the thing.
He's not worth it.
So CeeDee Lamb has fallen out of this scenario. So I've got the list right now of the top players. When we're talking 10 players, we're going to go 11. Yeah. So Christian McCaffrey's gone, Tyreek Hill gone, Jamar Chase, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Justin Jefferson, Breece Hall. Okay, so now here's the people that are left. Your pick 8. Do you take Bijan Robinson, AJ Brown, Puka Nacua, or CeeDee Lamb?
I trust Puka and I trust Bijan Robinson more than I trust those two. Yeah.
Or AJ Brown over CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, because I want consistency. I want the guy to start week 1. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so that's what I mean. If he's not picked or auto-picked there, now we're talking 2nd round CeeDee Lamb.
Here's the thing. Is he still going to be ranked that high? He'll be auto-picked. If somebody's an auto-pick in the 1st round, he's going to be gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where this whole scenario gets completely fucked, is auto-pick.
And here's the kicker too.
Yeah.
In lieu of a life event, and that can fall under any category: family, children, hospital, work, blah blah blah. If you miss draft day, you're not in the league next year. Like drafting is because of this, but let's assume everyone's going to be at our draft. So now we're going into the second round. Okay, so now we're in a 10-team league. So pick 11, 12, or 13. We're going to assume at this point Bijan Robinson, AJ Brown, and Puka Nacua are gone. So now we're looking at CeeDee Lamb or Garrett Wilson, Saquon Barkley, Jonathan Taylor, Jahmyr Gibbs, Kyren Williams.
I still like any of those players other than CeeDee Lamb.
Okay,
because of the possibility of not knowing, like you said.
So now 15 through 20. Now we got to think.
Yep. I'm thinking. I got it here.
15 through 20. You got Marvin Harrison Jr., Drake London, Devontae Adams, Kyren Williams, Derrick Henry, Isaiah Pacheco. Do all those players go before CeeDee Lamb?
No, not all.
I think 18, 19, and 20 is where you get questionable. I think arguably 20. If you're at 20,
Nope, I agree with you. He's between 20 and 25.
Because if you're at 20, you've picked Christian McCaffrey, right? And now you're looking, do you pick CeeDee Lamb with your very next pick, though?
Probably not, because you just picked a running back and you need a wide receiver. And you need him to be there week one.
So now you're looking at Devontae Smith, Devon Achane, Michael Pittman, Chris Olave, Cooper Kupp, Mike Evans, Nico Collins, Travis Etienne.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about a guy who might not be, because now if you're in that top 3 pick, and you decided not to pick CeeDee Lamb, but he's still on the board, you're not picking again until the bottom of 4.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah, because it's snake.
So, you're picking bottom 2, top 3. You won't pick again until bottom 4.
Yeah.
So now you've picked a running back and you're looking at a wide receiver. Do you risk your number 1 wide receiver not being there for the first 2 weeks?
No, you need availability. You need availability the first few weeks of the season. You don't want to
fall behind, Let's pretend you're in the middle. Let's pretend we're in the middle.
Yep.
CeeDee Lamb in the middle of the second round. Now we're talking, you could get potentially Devontae Adams, Marvin Harrison Jr. Where's the middle? So now if you're looking at Devontae Adams, Marvin Harrison Jr., or CeeDee Lamb, who's the bigger risk at that point? Devontae with some random ass quarterback.
Well, I believe Marvin Harrison is very hyped up this year, so you're not really taking a risk. You're just hoping that he does have the season that everybody hopes he's going to have. That's all.
Taking Marvin Harrison in the first 2 rounds is befuddling to me.
He's going to be his
I think
1.
Marvin Harrison Jr. could. It's crazy to say this,
it's make or break.
because of the hype, I think I think he makes or breaks your fantasy team because of where he is.
If you're taking him in 2nd round, you're taking a risk.
But if you're taking him in the 2nd or high 3rd, Well, if you're getting 2nd or high 3rd, I think that risk is there. I mean, because arguably, for one,
unproven rookie, you don't know, he could get hurt. He did have injury issues at Ohio State. Who knows?
I'm not worried about him getting the ball. Trey McBride gets the ball,
catching the ball. No, he knows how to catch and he knows how to run.
But that's actually, Patrick, what I am worried about: catching and running in the NFL. Have we heard much about anything from him other than his jersey debacle?
No, because I don't even know. I don't believe he even played in the preseason, did he? I don't know if we got an opportunity to see him. I'll check out ESPN here, even though I do not want to.
While you're checking that out, because there's something I listen for as a podcast analyst, as an amateur podcast analyst. There's one of the things I look for from rookies, or listen for from rookies in the beginning, is football chatter. Am I hearing about the player or am I hearing about the play? And in this scenario, in these scenarios, I'm hearing a lot about Jaden Daniels' play.
Negative,
and I'm seeing a lot about Jaden Daniels' play.
0 stats.
but we're hearing nothing. Now, the only thing we're hearing from Harrison is the Jersey camp. Now, that's a little unsettling. We are in Wisconsin. That's all the way in Arizona. So it just, to me, as now back to the fantasy side of this, that's too much of a risk for me. Now, coming off of a championship win, is that a risk I would be willing to take? I'm not sure. Coming after, now, the flip side of this, you being somebody chasing a championship this year,
Yes.
is that a risk you're willing to take?
If you have to take some risks, it's just up to me to decide which ones I fail on and which ones are successful for me. Yeah, for me, probably not. Someone else, probably. Someone that less experienced, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not worried about someone else.
By the way, Drake May is looking very good. Shout out to Drake May.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
I don't know. We're really going to have fun next week. We're going to have fun pre-game, pre-draft, breaking this all down, breaking all of our picks down.
My pre-excitement for the draft ended pretty quickly when I realized that the amount of players we were hopeful for haven't really shown a lot. And that's dangerous. That's looking at the quarterbacks, right? Seeing Jordan Love being 11th and Caleb Williams being 12th.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
One's more proven than the other, but neither one of them are proven. But then seeing CJ Stroud at 7, do we really think CJ Stroud is going to come out and throw 5 or less interceptions again this year?
No, I think maybe his yards are going to go up. I don't know.
I think everything goes down, bro. I think the stress.
Being a top 2 quarterback?
No, the stress from Diggs. We saw it with Cousins.
Yeah.
Yet we don't see it as much with you. You've seen it a little bit with Purdy. I'm thinking on the, you see it with Jalen Hurts. Jalen does it a lot. He's not. It doesn't matter who. It doesn't matter who. If you're open, you're getting the ball. But in Diggs's scenario, if he's not getting the ball thrown towards him, it's been proven that he becomes a problem. I think the forced targets to Diggs increase the interceptions early, but I think CJ is the type of player that won't allow those types.
Yeah.
Or he won't allow that play to continue. But I've got him more around 15 interceptions this year.
I don't have him that high. I'm thinking more around the 12.
Yeah. I think the forced throws to Diggs causes that. But again, we have, I just seen him. Where was Anthony Richardson at 5? In our little mock draft there, I ended
touchdowns. I don't know.
Well, they definitely take Anthony. They definitely take the rushing into consideration.
These running quarterbacks, Charles, these rushing quarterbacks are definitely getting a lot of love this season, which doesn't make any sense to me because in the past, all these quarterbacks usually get hurt or they miss a game.
Well, you have Kyler Murray as the 6th. So you have Anthony Richardson 5, Kyler 6, CJ 7. Yeah. Then you have Jaden Daniels 10, Jordan Love 11, Caleb Williams 12. I'm telling you what, bro, if I get Jordan Love in the 6th round,
absolutely. Yeah.
That's a steal. But looking at this list, I think Jordan Love is going to average 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Because, man.
Yeah. They really are pumping these. If you're on, like I said, auto pick is going to completely either help you or hurt you depending on what league you're in. Not our league, but if your league, like, well, perspective, we're talking about fantasy sleepers. We're talking about fantasy players. Charles is breaking this all down. And hypothetically, if you're a team that you see a guy in your league is in a sleeper, just potentially look for the players that are in the next round. And you might possibly get a steal because Charles and I are saying this right now. Undervalued players are all over the place this year.
It's so nuts. I don't want to talk too much on. I don't want to talk too much on Jordan Love, bro, because like he ended as the 9th best overall fantasy.
Yeah.
2, 3,
Yeah.
4. The 5th quarterback 5. Quarterback 5 he ended last year.
Oh yeah.
All right, yeah. Yeah, I don't want to projections. Let's see projections. How do we feel about Jared Goff?
15 to 18 for me. I do like his numbers. Like he puts up a lot of yards. He's got St. Brown. He's got good tight ends. He's going to get the ball to Williams. He's going to get it to the running backs. He's going to do okay. The problem with him is I don't know. His stat lines are they're consistent, but he's an average quarterback. He puts up numbers, but he has big games here, then he's average, then he puts up big games, then he's average. It's never a consistent climb throughout the season, if that makes any sense.
Well, it does. Stat-wise, rounding to the nearest whole number, he's at a 2 touchdown, 1 interception per game.
Yeah, so he's like your 18, 60. He's a good quarterback if you're a team that's completely loaded everywhere else and you just need a serviceable quarterback. Then he's your perfect quarterback. If you need a quarterback, that is the guy who's going to get your fantasy points. That's not the guy to take.
If Anthony Richardson averages 40 plus rushing yards a game, bro, yeah. Oh my God. Dude, they have him averaging just south of Lamar Jackson's yards a game.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Oh my God. The pain.
Charles, I don't care how much love you want to show him if you're a Colts fan. There's no way he's doing that. No way. Never. It's not gonna happen. They're saying he's gonna an MVP type season. No.
You know what I would be comfortable with?
Yeah.
Taking Anthony Richardson and then having Matthew Stafford.
Yeah. I can see that. Because if he doesn't pan out, you've got somebody to fall back on.
Where do you take Aaron Rodgers?
12, round 12, 13. Not round 12, but these like the 12th or 13th best quarterbacks. So I'm assuming like maybe 7th, 8th roundish.
Is it because of the no rushing yards? You got to think he's going to get you a solid 16, 17 points a game. But if you're running for a championship, are you looking for 20 plus?
It's not that I worry about him going down. It's that field. And I worry about one of his weapons going down. I worry about Wilson getting hurt. I worry about Breece Hall going down. I worry about who else is he going to really throw the ball to if those guys go down. I don't even know who his tight end is. I should know, but I don't know.
I think it's worth the risk in the beginning. And everything we've just talked about, because we're going to jump into the 90s commercial reactions here, if you wanted to. Otherwise, we can
throw it on here. We throw on a couple.
But I think it's worth the risk in the beginning because of the potential that's in the NFL right now and the amount of waiver wire potential. I think you'll be fine because you're gonna get a quarterback. If you get Anthony Richardson and then your backup quarterback's Aaron Rodgers, you've set yourself up for one of the highest falls possible. But if you're sitting in a realm where you have CJ Stroud, I think Aaron Rodgers would be a great backup quarterback in that scenario.
Absolutely. I totally agree.
Because CJ Stroud, let's say he does throw more towards the 15 interceptions and 20 touchdowns than 12 and 30, right? But then you've got Aaron Rodgers, who's going to be a consistent 17 to 22 guy. He's going to. It's Aaron Rodgers, let's be honest. We're not talking about can he play. We're talking about can the team stay healthy. We're not worried about his plays. I think
his arm and his accuracy are still there. His footwork is not there, but his arm and his accuracy are still there.
So if you're in a top 5 quarterback projected realm as your starter, that isn't Anthony Richardson or Jaden Daniels.
Yes, if you're not sitting there.
Or Lamar Jackson. Like, you don't want Lamar Jackson and Aaron Rodgers, right? Like, you don't want Jaden Daniels and Aaron Rodgers. You don't want Anthony Richardson and Aaron Rodgers.
Who would you pair with a Lamar Jackson type quarterback? He's going to get you the fantasy points, but he's also going to be one of the first 5 quarterbacks taken. So you're thinking Lamar Jackson or even a Brock Purdy backup maybe?
Justin Herbert.
Herbert, yeah.
Brock Purdy isn't going to be there. Brock Purdy should go.
You think he's going to go?
He'll be top 6, top 7 quarterbacks gone there. Definitely, he's going to be a starter on a 10-team league. Purdy's going to be a starter.
Some guys jump the gun and take their first quarterback in like the 6th, 7th round. They take him super early instead of waiting to get the role players. There's those players that play.
I did it last year. It depends on.
I know there's people that do it. It just depends on if it falls. If you know that you're not going to come back up for 12 more picks, and you're depending on where you're in there for the snake draft, you're like 2 or 3, and you don't come back rolling around for 12, 14 picks. Yes, you have to take a quarterback because you know that the quarterbacks are moving. And then once quarterbacks start moving in the snake draft, they're just 2, 3, 4, 5 of them are off the board real quick. That's the problem with the snake draft. It's very difficult to predict.
Well, and to open a window to my realm, drafting a quarterback relies on 2 specific scenarios for me.
Yep.
100% of the time. Where I am in the draft position.
Yep.
And then the draft environment itself. Like you were just talking. If 2 people take quarterbacks in the 4th round, scare everyone, quarterbacks leave 5 through 6, and then you have sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. Definitely worked out for me last year. But like last year with the number 3 pick, come the 4th round, I believe I took a quarterback in the 4th round.
Yeah.
And it was Jalen Hurts. But the way I looked at it is who I wanted, I knew I could get in the round below me, in the next round. But the quarterback I wanted wasn't going to be there the next time I came up and drafted.
Yeah, that's so you gotta look at it look at it through the eyes of somebody who who knows what they want. You have a draft board. I know you doodle and you have things written down every episode and every show. I do that for draft day and I'll do it, but I usually type a note up on my computer and I've got a list of players, and I'm sure most people do. And I look at that, even if it's a guy that I don't believe that he's going to be a starter, and maybe he's a guy that I know that one of my starters eventually throughout the season is going to go down, and this guy's a very good flex. There's going to be situations where he's going to be a guy that's going to get 15, 18 points versus this team. Sometimes I literally will reach on a guy like that just because I know he's going to sit the bench anyway until a bye week. So I just take that guy knowing his potential.
So my last year's fantasy squad. Now there is a statistic or a saying that I was told, and I do agree, and it didn't happen so much last year, but the team you draft is not the team you're going to end the year with. Now, last year, minus 1 wide receiver, Deebo Samuel for Pickett, the entire team I had was the team that I had drafted at day 1. But Watson, or the great AI that was fantasy, had me at a pre-draft rank at 8. And I started at 3.
That AI is about as bad as the college football rankings.
Yeah,
I don't trust that AI.
If you want to be good at fantasy, you have to put in time, and you have to do your homework. It is. And then during the season, you have to, you don't have to give it 7 days a week, but every morning when you're on the shitter, you're no longer looking at Facebook. You're looking at the waiver wire. You're looking at who had a good week and who they're playing the next week. It comes in. There's a lot of movement around week 4. And then the pond is pretty much drained by week 6.
Yep.
And you're rolling the dice and you get random picks after that.
All right.
Fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. These are 90s commercials reactions. So this could be fun in a lot of ways. This was sparked by a Doritos commercial. I think Doritos had some of my favorite 90s commercials, but I'm going to pull some of these up. We'll wrap the show up with one of these.
This is a good one. Did you see this one before?
I'm sure I have in my life, but I haven't recently, no.
These are from the 90s. It just says 96, but I think they're all from the 90s.
Let me guess. You crave a big, bold taste. You crave the wave. Everybody wants it. What you gonna see? Everybody wants it. Baby, don't you see? A lot of flavors. Everybody wants it. Everybody wants it.
All right, the first reaction is, what's up with the homeless guy dancing at the service counter? Did you happen to catch that?
I just see equality here, brother. I see
You just-
inclusion. I
see
see a whole bunch of inclusion. Ocean spray, man.
Want to see my beetle?
That was
Want to see my dragon?
$1.99 for a Happy Meal.
When you buy your kids a $1.99 hamburger Happy Meal, they can choose a cool.
Dude, I was walking through Walmart today, and the same freezer that we have in our house, we got it 2 years ago for $140. It was $165 today.
Good Lord.
Transformers. Dude, I had some of those. Whoa, what are you doing?
These aren't commercials. I believe these are.
Yeah, they're all commercials.
Oh, but that one looked like the news.
Our little girl's growing up so fast.
Oh, we can't. No, they're all commercials. It's just that's what I mean.
The classic episodes selected for this
Those TV shows, though. I don't want TV shows. I want.
We gotta watch them all, dude. We gotta watch them all. We gotta watch them all. We'll do this for a few minutes, man. Let's see what we come up with.
X-Files here, yeah.
News.
Find out how a courageous cat risked her life to save her kittens. At 10.
I wish this could last all night.
Oh, it can. And tomorrow night, and maybe the next night, and the following day. The copper top. No
Well, that was a little
batteries
sexual innuendo there.
The 90s were full of them, bro.
And I want you back.
Fox presents the 2
Are these soaps?
finale
Yeah.
Too late. I'm getting married, Charlie.
of the best drama.
Charlie.
Who are you getting married to,
I don't
bitch?
know how to be apart from you.
Ooh.
Oh,
I don't know how serious it is or anything.
no. Oh,
Matt and
I think that guy in the curly hair ended up dying.
Yeah, I think so, too.
Season finale of Party of Five.
Party of Five. Yeah,
Party
I
of
remember.
Five,
I don't know
bro.
if I ever watched it, but yeah.
I never watched a single episode. Not one.
worked for Purple for 5 years. I think I know a little about black people.
The show coming up next.
Oh, that probably did not last. Is that the craziest sport ever?
The luge?
Yeah.
Whatever this, yeah. Is this X Games?
I don't know. It kind of looks like it. A Mountain Dew commercial.
Goddamn Mountain Dew commercial.
Dew.
This is X Games?
This-
No.
Get that.
Forget typical. And say goodbye.
This looks like a Marvel commercial.
Marlboro or Budweiser.
Yeah, this is a smoking commercial. No, it's a burrito commercial. Taco Bell commercial.
This gotta be a cigarette commercial.
This has gotta be a cigarette commercial. Dude, those cigarette commercials back in the day were something special, man.
Shout out YouTube. This is long.
We'll watch a couple more minutes. And
Is this the first diss ever? Eat those burgers behind.
Taco Bell.
I don't even remember this commercial.
Man, drive-in movie theaters? Those were so much fun, dude. The car would be a mess the next day.
Calling it quit.
I remember this shit.
Is this Will and Grace?
Well, you can't.
I think so, yeah.
Season finale.
No.
No, it's Ned and Stacy. Literally.
Wants more than her boyfriend. She wants her identity.
I don't see one up.
A brand new night.
Yeah, and I don't see one up. Got that on.
Now, from the heart of the jungle, you can bring a new age to your place.
On
Calling
VHS.
wild.
Dude, I love that. Growing, man. Equitsuacha. White devil, white devil.
Ventura When Nature Calls, now on video.
Hey, we look good and passed out.
Oh,
I
man.
think we look silly.
Hey, you guys are all dressed for Easter, huh? Pretty soon the Easter Bunny will bring me a basket full of you guys.
You still believe in the Easter Bunny?
Are you insane?
I believe in talking candy, don't I?
Oh, good point.
The Disney Video Masterpiece Collection Trivia Challenge is at McDonald's.
Oh man, McDonald's had the greatest challenges over the in the 90s. Dude, that collector's cup they have, you notice a few of them in the background. Anyone who picks out stuff looking for new stuff. Bro, I had Waffle Crisp the other day. It tastes the same as when I was a kid. I remember these commercials.
Harnessing years of good old American waffle know-how.
Waffle know-how.
To make sure every scrumptious
it's Grandma's waffles.
Tastes just like Grandma's homemade waffles and syrup. And now, introducing Post Waffle Crisp, a brand new cereal with old-fashioned values.
You'll love my Waffle Crisp.
You love my waffle.
And now let's make that random call with today's $10,000 question. Who
Oh.
shot Alexander Hamilton in that famous duel?
Oh, I know this, and he can't say anything because of the peanut butter.
Could bring back your
Oh,
Hello,
you.
Hello.
This is Disney Smart. Dude, this is Disney's Smart House.
Yeah.
Hello for $10,000.
And he can't say anything because of the peanut butter, but it might be a milk thing.
Oh, I'm sorry. Your time is up.
Hot milk? Yeah. I remember those
Darnell
commercials.
had a way with women. I love him. And his mama had a way
What movie
with
was
words.
this one?
I did not raise you to
Big
be a
Mama's
gigolo.
But he just
No.
wouldn't listen.
You said you loved me.
No, you can't say that. Until it was too late. Martin Lawrence.
I'm caught up in a real life fatal attraction.
A thin
Fatal?
line between
The
love
thin
and
line
hate.
to love and hate?
Get a woman, but I can't.
April 3rd.
It's a good one.
Wendy's new country French chicken tastes so delicious.
Oh,
Bonjour, Dave.
that's George. That's Dave right there.
Yeah, Dave.
I remember Dave in all the commercials, dude.
Dave. Bien.
The Swiss, topped with Dave's tangy Dijon sauce.
Bonjour, Dave.
He would turn in his grave hearing about surge pricing.
Merci.
Whatever. It's a sandwich so delicious, only Dave could have made it.
Hi, Dave.
Bonjour, mes amis.
He's gotta be stopped.
Come try Wendy's new country French chicken.
Jonathan
And they
Silver.
don't make the food like they did back in the
America's favorite
90s.
stick are back.
We can have Bernie's too?
Bernie's 2. World broadcast.
Yeah!
Working for TV.
That was fantastic. Dude, that brings you back to like your childhood. You're just...
That's what I'm saying. I'm really excited about this segment, dude. About bringing randos in. Oh, man. What a great show. What a great show. What a great show. All right. How are we going to end this one this week?
You got a state for us?
All right. Let's pull up a state. Let's pull up a state.
How about Kansas? Bucket, Charles. Let's go close to home. Or Minnesota.
Oh, we're going to look for Kansas State facts.
Kansas. I'm going to assume Kansas probably has a lot of agricultural. Maybe corn. Maybe wheat. Maybe hay. Cattle. Cows. Milk.
Okay. So while that's reading, the statehood, Kansas became the 34th state to join the United States January 29th, 1861. Yeah.
Damn,
It's known as the sunflower and wheat state due to its abundant sunflower fields and wheat production. Funny thing about sunflowers, apparently there's something going on where they're not looking at the sun anymore.
No, they just sit straight like this.
Yeah, have you been seeing anything about that?
Yeah. Something with the UV rays or something. Who knows?
There's a whole ass word for it too, but I can't say them anymore. Capital and largest city is Topeka.
Topeka.
The capital is Topeka, while the largest city is Wichita. Kansas is known for its vast plains, but it also has gentle hills and forests, especially in the Northeast. So I had no idea Kansas had forests.
Oh yeah, big hunting.
I thought it was pretty much just I thought it was pretty much just all with a few.
You off on that in Oklahoma. That's what you think of when you think of Kansas. I think tornadoes too. It's flat.
Kansas is the leading producer of wheat, corn, soybeans, and sorghum.
No idea.
Sorghum.
I don't know. Let's look it up.
Yeah, no. The state played a crucial role in the Civil War era, particularly with Kansas-Nebraska Act of 1854, which allowed residents to vote on the issue of slavery.
Sorghum is a versatile grain that has many uses, including boiled, baked, steamed, roasted, or popped. It can be used as a porridge, grain side dish, or stuffing for peppers. Used in cookies, livestock feed, ethanol production. So I guess it's a byproduct. It's basically something that must have came from something else, and then they just produce it now, and it's basically a filler for other things. Cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Sorghum. I'm gonna have to look for it from now on. All right, here we go. Guess it out. What is the most popular merchandise items in Kansas? Number 1.
Farm implement equipment.
Kansas Jayhawks gear. Items related to the University of Kansas.
Like we get a lot of states that have this.
Jerseys, hats, and other apparel are highly sought after. Number 2.
I'm gonna say farming equipment. It's gotta be in there.
Local goods from Kansas City. Products like locally made apparels, gifts, and accessories from stores made in KC are also very popular.
This is
Number
not even
3.
from Kansas. What the fuck are they doing?
Yeah.
I'm still gonna say freaking farm implement equipment.
Homemade products.
They've gotta have.
No, it only gave me 3 this time, and farming was not on it. Homemade products from local artisans. Yeah, what the hell? Kansas City. Let me open this link because this is made in Kansas City.
It's not even made in Kansas. It's made in fucking Missouri, but yeah, it's the number one. It's their number one thing is an imported.
I think that the internet got the thing. We've been realizing over the last couple of weeks that, and this is one of the reasons I've continued to allow this to happen, is it's just a lot of the arguments that occur come from people who went to the internet and asked it a version of its question and got the answer their version requested.
Right, and everything that's inputted is a learned process. So everyone is different, it's unique, but if it's similar to another one, they keep on adding to it, and it becomes fact for AI.
When I click on this website, it brings me to Kansas City Chiefs gear, which makes a whole bunch of
just nothing to do with Kansas.
But it has Kansas, and the Taylor Swift Travis Kelce wave is real right now. So I'm guessing that was influenced. So we might have to come back to Kansas one day, or maybe one of our listeners out there hit us up with some Kansas facts. Patrick, you got anything else for us today?
No, I think we're good. That was fantastic. I had a lot of fun with that one.
Yeah, I did too. I like those 90s commercials. I get lost watching a lot of that shit.
Yeah, me
often.
Too.
It's a lot of fun. So, but hey, listen, man, I appreciate you. And I appreciate all of our listeners out there. Everybody who keeps commenting, subscribing, sharing. Football season's upon us, so we'll be doing giveaways again soon. That'll be fun. We love giving away free shit. I think that I don't think I swore all episode. I think that was the first one. I think I just dropped it. We're practicing this new thing where we don't swear. Sometimes, yeah, you're gonna hear swear words because in the real world, adult conversations have them. But I did keep it at a minimum this time, and we started with what grinds my gears in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah,
that was super dangerous, bro. That was like. That was really dangerous.
At 10:50, I believe I did say a-hole, but that was in correlation to the drive-through thing. Yeah.
The internet can't be bad. I didn't say you said it.
you didn't say it. It wasn't in there.
That's fine. We appreciate you as a human being, and we are very aware, and we hope you are also, that the world is a much better place with you in it. We love you more.